She's a Georgetown sophomore, speaks fluent Italian, always cleared the table when it was her turn. What would a good price for her be?
What do you think today a Georgetown sophomore would bring for a bride price? You're definitely not getting the sheep part of the deal. Maybe a goat. Hey everybody, Zach again, newtutorial.com, coming in making a video for you today. I know. It's been a minute. We're going to get right back into it with a video on apologetics and tackle one of the clips that has been around almost as long as the internet itself. It's been around a long time. And shared usually anywhere on social media whenever an atheist or someone who hates the Bible wants to make a point about how ridiculous the Bible is and why you can't take this seriously and why it's not for our times. It's antiquitous. It's something that's, well worn out for its age. And this is just why. These are all the reasons why. And so this clip that we're about to see today shows us all that. So we're going to go ahead and start the clip, and we're going to chalk talk this. It's probably going to take 2, 3, maybe 4 videos to go through it all. But we'll go through each item that's listed here one by one. We're taking on President Bartlet today from the West Wing.
I like how you call homosexuality an abomination.
I don't say homosexuality is an abomination, Mr. President. The Bible does.
Yes, it does. Leviticus
18:22.
chapter and verse. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions while I had you here. I'm interested in selling my youngest daughter into slavery.
Oh boy, here we go. Yes, the Bible condones slavery. That's where we're going today.
Is sanctioned in Exodus 21:7. She's a Georgetown sophomore, speaks fluent Italian, always cleared the table when it was her turn. What would a good price for her be?
What would a good price for her be? We'll get back to that at the end of the video. But first, let's go ahead and talk about slavery, because this is something that often comes up. The Bible condones slavery. Let's look at a few verses that would absolutely contradict what he just said. First one we have is Exodus 21:16, which is, by the way, in the exact same chapter he just got done quoting from. And he that steals a man and sells him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. That would be, I think, slavery, if we have to look it up. And then we have in Deuteronomy 24, basically the verse is repeated. If a man be found stealing any of his brothers and the children of Israel, and makes merchandise of him, or sells him, then that thief shall die, and you shall put evil away from among you. What I've often said on my channel in the past is that there are no contradictions, there are only misunderstandings. So what is the misunderstanding here? Let's read the verse that he just quotes. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do. Okay, to be a maidservant, what does that mean? And should not go out as the men servants do. Obviously, we're missing some context here because there's a difference between what the men do and what the women do. Let's go ahead and read up and get context for what this is reading, what this is talking about. And so we need to go up to verse 2 and start there. If you buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. Buying a Hebrew servant. Well, didn't we just read that this is illegal? You can't do this in the land of Israel? Well, why are we doing it here? We have this issue of comprehending the idea that when you hired yourself out, you were selling yourself, and that's exactly what 99% of my audience does today when you go to work for a job. You hire yourself out, and someone pays you for your time and energy, expertise, your skills. They pay you for that, and that's selling yourself. That's not slavery. That's having a job. Okay, and that's what's being discussed here. Someone is going out and finding a job. And why the 6 years and then the 7th year you go free? Well, if you do a little bit of research and you find out the historical time frame for a usual apprenticeship, you will find that it was traditionally, historically, 7 years. And then you were out on your own. Now, you could choose, if you wanted to go ahead and stay behind and work for that person that you had spent that 7 years with, and then go ahead and take up his trade and continue on if he wanted you or if he allowed you to do that. But what we're talking about here is a job, an apprenticeship that's being learned. And that's normally what people did historically. When you had a son, you would send that son out to go learn a trade. Maybe if it wasn't from you specifically or someone else, to be a carpenter or to be a mason or a brick, whatever you wanted to do, a farmer. You went out and you did these things, and you learned that trade, and you sold yourself, meaning you got paid for your time and energy and skill set and all that. It's a job. That's what we're talking about, a job. Now, let's go down to what the women now are talking about, and let's see what that says. Now, if a man sells his daughter to be a maidservant, okay, well, now we're talking about selling in terms of there's being a bride price being paid. This is not slavery. Again, this is someone who's like, okay, I want this person possibly to be a wife or to be a wife to my son, as the verse states specifically below. And so you're going to pay that bride price, and in return, that the bride's family is going to give you a dowry, okay, to the potential husband. Okay, so money is being exchanged here. Let's continue reading. If she please not her master, who has betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her to a strange nation, he shall not have any power, meaning he can't do that. So you approach the father, you pay the bride price, he gives you the dowry, and now you take her home and you just see how things might work out before you actually marry this woman. You're now betrothed, that she is your intended, and you find out she's not that great of a cook. She doesn't even know how to bake a loaf of bread. She can't butcher a chicken. And oh my goodness, she is horrible with children. I don't want this woman as a wife. And so you're not allowed to take that woman and then sell her to another strange nation or someone else. You have to then redeem her, meaning you have to give back the dowry. You don't get to keep that. But see, we are so far removed from that historical reference. We've never done that in our culture, day and age. Everyone uses Bumble or TikTok or whatever they're using these days to find people. And we have no idea what it was meant for a father to give away his daughter. And that's what's being discussed here. This is not about someone who is being sold into slavery. This is about a bride price and a dowry. And then if that doesn't work out, you have to then give that back. You can't keep it. You have to give it back. It's called being redeemed. And then she can go off and find maybe hopefully another husband out there who likes burnt lasagna and who doesn't mind that she buys all of her food at the big box stores and has to live in the drive-through and can't cook a meal or broke the laundry machine on the first whatever. It's like put the cast iron skillet in the dishwasher. There might be a man out there somewhere who likes that. So and so you have to give her another chance. You can't just sell her. That's what's being discussed here.
She's a Georgetown sophomore, speaks fluent Italian, always cleared the table when it was her turn. What would a good price for her be?
What do you think today a Georgetown sophomore who always clears her place when it's her turn would bring for a bride price? You're definitely not getting a sheep out of the deal. Maybe a goat. You might get a goat. Do they teach home economics in Georgetown? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Maybe they do teach, sourdough bread making there. I don't know. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. What a good price for a Georgetown sophomore who speaks fluent Italian, by the way. Clearing the table when it's her turn. Speaks fluent Italian, but she went to Georgetown, so she has probably zero home ec skills. Like the video before you go. Share it on social media. I really appreciate it. And go home. Read your Bible. Thanks.